All right, JJ McCarthy already lost the starting quarterback job. We're now getting reports that Carson Wentz is now the second string quarterback, or starting to get second string reps, which means is JJ McCarthy going to lose the second string quarterback job? I do know he's been dealing with some ankle injuries, and so maybe we're being dramatic here, but I want to hear what Kevin O'Connell has to say about this situation and get to the truth. Let's see it.
Today's going to be our final kind of training camp, I guess you would call it practice. It'll be, for many of you guys who have been here before over the few years, it'll be more of we call it a scrimmage style format because we want to kind of simulate some aspects of reps for the games. So everything today is designed, it's still thud, it's still our normal way of practicing, but everything's designed to, I might as well have a rep counter in my hand. I'm trying to get a certain amount per drive, make sure these guys start feeling what it's like to play the volume of snaps, and we'll move around the field and do different things. But so just so you were, aware of what we were kind of doing. Just some injury updates. Caleb Tiernan, still kind of week to week, he's doing better. He'll start, kind of the progression. But we hope, that targeted date of getting him returning to practice Green Bay week is still in play. And then Theo Jackson also progressing. In a good way. You'll start seeing him do a little bit more kind of off to the side as we hope to get him maybe worked back in next week, but for sure we're targeting that Packers week. And then additionally, just with JJ, we're going to kind of give him a rest day today just to see if we can kind of put the ankle behind him a little bit. He's, gotten some work. We kind of split the reps yesterday just to not overload him, and with hopes of, all along really wanted him to, be able to start this final preseason game, and we'll work off of that. If we can, we feel good about getting him those really important reps, we will, but I'll keep you guys posted. In regards to just the game itself, we will have some guys, inactive for that game, but still a lot of really, really important reps throughout our whole football team as we're trying to work towards solidifying our 53 and our practice squad. It's been a really cool thing to see our 90-man roster and how competitive it has been from top to bottom, and I'm very much well aware, just having gone through it before as a player, like these are hard days for some guys because they're trying to do everything they can to solidify, the work they've done up until this point, but, want to give them a great plan and, see the guys go out there and compete on Friday. And then, just for us, as we go into not only, the fact that we've got to cut down the roster a little earlier. I don't know, I think you guys know, but we're, with the international games earlier, we now have to cut down by 3 o'clock on Sunday. So between the getting home at 4 a.m. on early Saturday morning after the Friday night game, it's going to be, a lot of work to be done and a lot of tough conversations to be had. And just wanted to, make note of that. It's never lost on me from that standpoint. But I'll open it up to you guys.
Damn, that's tough from a timeline standpoint. But what we heard him say here is that JJ, part of it was trying to give him some time to heal up with the ankle. But I want one of the reporters to be super targeted and say, hey, is JJ McCarthy your second string quarterback? That's it. That's all I want to hear. We'll see if they get
Do you expect Carson to play Friday?
We're still working through the full plan, but as of right now, yes, I do.
So, Coach, did you divide up the second team reps this week because of J.J. McCarthy's ankle?
Yeah, it was really only, on Monday they really weren't divided up in any kind of particular way. We only had so many reps coming out of the game because the ones, only basically got 1 or 2 reps a period. Or they got all the reps, the twos, and the other guys only really got 1 or 2 reps a period. So really, yesterday was more out of, just knowing that we wanted to try to hopefully get him turned over. And now today's such a there's so many ones versus ones reps today. Felt like it was a good opportunity to let him get the next couple days to turn over and feel really great for Friday night.
So just to be clear, you're thinking JJ could still start Friday night?
Yeah, I mean, to me, at this point, maybe not getting as many as maybe we wanted to in the last preseason game. I think these reps are still so important. I know, we look at all this as such a big picture thing all the time, and but I still look at these reps for a young player as really important. And he's, had a really good offseason and a good training camp, and I still think these reps are important for him to go out there and move the ball and move the team, put the ball in the end zone, and that's the goal. But also, if we can't get him there, we can't get him there.
My guy rambles about saying a lot of anything. I need some targeted questions, reporters. We need to lock them in.
You guys get the news yesterday of Jeshaun Jones' suspension. What was I'm sure you guys have known that's a possibility for a while, but what was your reaction to finding that out from the NFL yesterday?
Yeah.
That was a little hard to hear, but they're talking about Jeshaun Jones. He's a receiver for the Vikings. He is suspended, and it was for like some drug-related thing. So let's see what he says.
I know the league kind of put out the statement. It's pretty cut and dry, the player contact policy, but disappointed when Jeshaun called me. This was going back to before the offseason program started, and called me immediately and let me know, and was very remorseful, took total accountability of it. But it's been made very clear the standard we expect out of not only our players but everybody in this building, and I think he's been accountable. I'm proud of the way he's approached this to take responsibility and want to put it behind him, and this is kind of the last phase of it when that discipline comes down, and we move forward, knowing that was a possibility, especially when the process had played out. But yeah, everybody's well aware of kind of the expectations and the standards, and when you fall short of that, you're going to be held accountable for it. But at the same time, we're going to support them, and obviously, when those 3 weeks are up, we'll welcome them back.
Yeah, I mean, good coach response. He's clearly not happy with the situation. I mean, you can see the look on his face now, frustrated. He even has to talk about it, but it is what it is. It happens. Not going to nitpick on the sunglasses, but never a fan of that.
Is there a specific diagnosis to the ankle, to JJ's ankle?
Better.
Just it's not. I wouldn't call it anything like it's not a high ankle. It's not a, it's just a deltoid sprain, I guess you'd call it. That's as medical as I can get for you. But no, he actually came in feeling pretty good after the game, and there's just some things he's had to work through this week.
Just from that last hit, Kevin, or because he got hit low like 3 times. So did it come from the last hit or just an accumulation of hits?
It was probably one of those plays. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly when it was.
What's your goal for, and I don't know what the importance of the timing is here, for deciding for the Packers game who's going to be the backup QB technically?
Yeah.
Like, is that a decision that you want to make soon, that week? Like, what's that timetable?
I think to me it's making an assessment on what we think is best for the team, and like I said, I think these reps are important. The reps in the game are important. We want to make sure we give not only JJ and Carson but Max as well, with the good things that he's done, the ability to maximize what we can get out of these games and allow that competition. And it's not just that position. It's there's a bunch of positions. There's still some guys fighting to whether it's practice squad spots or putting on great tape for the rest of the league to see, because that's what our goal is always. I tell the team every year at the beginning of training camp, I want all 90 guys in this room right now to be on an NFL team or practice squad somewhere this year, and our jobs are to put you in a position, whether you get a ton of reps or you don't get a lot of reps, but by the time the games come around, or last week with the joint practices, we want guys to feel like they're prepared, and that's our job as coaches to do. And I think I got a great staff that helps the players do that. But yeah, we want to have clarity, but also like I said, today's the last quote unquote training camp practice. We'll still have some work next week, and continue to always make the decisions based upon what we think is best for the team. And it's been a really competitive. I think all 4 of our quarterbacks have had good training camps. I know we're counting those balls and strikes, and when those pitches are right on the corner, I don't know how you count them without knowing the play call and the intent and all those things. But that's our jobs to do, and challenge these guys on a daily basis to go, help be elevators of whatever group they're in with on offense. And I feel like we've been able to do that, but we have the 1/3 of our preseason game opportunities still to be played.
Bro, that was crazy. I don't know if y'all heard it the way I did. he didn't say JJ was the second string quarterback and that he was going to be the backup in that Packers game week 1. He didn't say that. And almost worse, he's mentioning Max Brosmer. Now, Vikings fans, y'all tell me what you want here. I wouldn't be mad. I really wouldn't if Carson Wentz is actually your backup, because let's say Kyler goes down. Wentz, we've seen him do an okay enough job where he can still move the offense down the field, and you have a ton of talent on that team. So I wouldn't be overly concerned about that, whereas JJ, younger, more prone to make mistakes, things of that sort. So I wouldn't freak out if he's the third string quarterback. But I don't want to hear about Max in the mix of a potential backup. Obviously, we're not going to run with that. Like, that's being very dramatic. But that is you want to hear, hey, JJ's shown enough this offseason that he is our backup quarterback. But clearly not.
Into Sunday, how do you feel about the edge rusher depth just with that position?
Yeah, I think all those guys, whether you're talking about, I think Tyler Batty's been a guy you guys have probably seen, jump out and in game as well when he's gotten his opportunities. He's one of the better special teams 4-phase players we have on the team. But Tyler's had a great camp. I think, Ty Ingram is a guy, like, there's still some times when we're starting, whether it's myself and Nolan or a larger group, we're talking about the roster. We almost have to talk about the front as a total number, just because you can make a strong argument what column we're going to put him in. Even I don't necessarily know, because I think that can change throughout the ebbs and flows of the season, or what Flo and the staff think are best, whether he plays more of the interior spot or he plays more on the edge. I think that he's been such a bright spot for training camp, just watching this guy really evolve in multiple roles. He's still a young player, and the way he's fitting into the big plans of how we want to play. So he's there. I think Bo has been his normal, consistent self. Chaz has taken reps at inside backer, outside backer, fullback. He's done a lot of different things in addition to being another guy that's really great in teams. And then we've got a couple young guys that I think are, very much competing to continue to show what they can do, because both those guys, Cam and Dyson have both shown some really, really good snaps to us.
I agree. There's decent depth there, but always room for improvement. But the right answer from a coach's perspective, for sure. Definitely some guys who have shown some flashes this preseason.
I think Dallas Turner's the biggest, most important area of growth has been.
Oh man. Well, I think first and foremost, he has total ownership of the defense now. He knows exactly, at that kind of rush spot, opposite Gink, he knows the different layers to the defense, all the checks. That first team group has been really, in practice as of late, really rolling the full gamut of things. That's such a challenge to go up against. But, whether it was watching him, against a really good player in the joint practices, whether it's just watching him go up against CD, every day, or BO. I just think it's just total clarity on his job, but now we're starting to see the refinement of skills and the different repertoire of moves, and then how he packages all that together over the course of a lot of snaps has been really cool to see, because we know we know how athletically gifted he is, the ability he has, and now it's just watching him play fast and with a purpose on every snap. He's been violent and physical on the edge. I'm so excited to watch the real games get started for a guy like Dallas Turner, for sure.
On Chaz in particular, so we saw him go from 57, I think, to 40, played fullback.
Yeah.
I take it that number switch was not for defensive purposes?
No,
correct?
It's just so every time, if we want to get him some snaps in the game, every single time he doesn't have to report as ineligible. And Chaz is the one guy that I don't want to discount his swag factor, but we can put him in just about any number and he'd just go out and play. But yeah, that was really in the event that we decided to get him some snaps at fullback in the game, that we don't have to report him as eligible, or and then you guys know this, we'll go from 90 to 53, and they'll be, besides the guys that are selling a lot of the jerseys that look like this, I mean, any number change can happen based on a lot of very tiresome conversations about numbers that I know are in my near future that I'm not very excited about, but whatever we can do for these guys to feel great. But Chaz is not a guy that I worry about too much. And as we've added players at other positions that are required to wear certain numbers, we've had to do that as well. We got a receiver out of 46, which was great. I know he was happy about that. Briscoe was.
I've always liked Chaz, even when he was at Georgia. Just seems like a hard-working guy, and all of that tracks with what I've heard about him before. So yeah, good stuff. Low-key a shot at Chaz though, saying like, and other players like, hey, unless you're one of the guys selling the jerseys, your number is up for grabs.
Anticipate revisiting with Harrison Smith at all, and as we get into the nitty gritty here?
Yeah, I've had my kind of weekly, dialogues and discussions with him that have ranged to a lot of different topics.
That's crazy.
But yeah, we've been in. I've talked to him I've talked to him this week, and kind of, just continuing to, in addition to all those other fun things to talk about, have some conversations about where he's at and what he's thinking, and we'll keep you guys updated if there is an update on that. But right now the priority is obviously these guys out here today and getting down to 53 in our 16 practice squad spots.
There ain't no way Harrison Smith's coming back to play. That'd be crazy. I would be down for it though, but getting a little up there, my guys. Sometimes it's good to just sit back and relax on the sideline and let these guys on the field do their thing. But yeah, good stuff. Kevin O'Connell, we did get clarity that JJ McCarthy is not the locked-in backup. That's huge. Good question from the reporter, because Kevin O'Connell was going all the way around it. And if we didn't get that question, we wouldn't have had any clarity. And I want to know how Vikings fans feel about it. I was okay with it until he started talking about Max Brosmer in the mix. And it's like, y'all don't feel great about that room. That's worrisome. But in general, good stuff, Vikings. I'm pulling for y'all this season. I think y'all have a ton of talent. It's just that quarterback spot that y'all sometimes need help with. And Kyler Murray, I'm looking for a resurgence. But y'all, like, subscribe if you would like to. If not, peace out. I'll see you next time.